Hey, hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Worlds can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes, help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, why your person's doing what they're doing, why you're attracting that person into your life. We get stuck in these questions a lot of times. We're like, I know I'm a good person. Why did that situation happen? You know, being with a past life karmic mate, they create a lot of, negative energy a lot of times because they're just not on the right vibration. See, spirit brings people into our lives to teach us. And we also teach people. Everything is karmic because there's many different realities that play out at one time. So your level of consciousness, if it's coming from a place of unconditional love, well, you're where you're going to honor yourself. Everything is a reflection of you. So when you attract somebody, for instance, that is negative, it's not that you're negative. It's on some level you tolerate the behavior. So that means on some level you feel that you're deserving of it, or you just don't know any better. You've never experienced anything better. So if you're around someone that was abusive growing up, you wouldn't know any better. You'd come from a level of not believing that you're loved, not seeing your worth. And so you compromise yourself. And then when someone comes into your life, you don't realize that you're starving on an emotional level because emotionally, no one gave it to you. See, it's our job to give it to ourselves. We can't help the families that we're born into. However, we are responsible for the healing that needs to be done when we leave that family. A lot of us aren't even friends or associate with our families if we came from severe trauma. That's a side effect of, a spiritually sick home. I came from a spiritually sick home. My father had cancer like 9 times, like literally towards the end. There was like three cancers right on top of another. However, he had cancer from starting at 42 years old because he lived with a narcissist, somebody that was spiritually sick and mirrored the energies of narcissism, I should say, because the person didn't start off as a narcissist. They were abused and they were abused and they were abused and they were abused. And it was their environment that created that reality for them where they believed that they weren't worthy. And so my mom lived with a person that showed her that she wasn't worthy. And that's because he didn't feel that he was worthy. See, shadows are parts of ourself that we detach and disassociate. And so, in order to heal the effects of trauma so that one day heaven will be on earth, we have to integrate the spiritual lesson and then actually transmute that negative energy. Otherwise, we're stuck in a karmic cycle where the same karmic theme plays out. And that same karmic theme could be, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I don't belong here. It could be anything that again just keeps you in a place of pain. There's only two energies, love and fear. So actually pain is derived from fear, but being stuck in that mindset will only make you attract people and have situations that have that same energy. So the channel is all about healing, obviously, but I do look at everything because we all want to know what that person, we all have an ego part of ourselves. So we're all like, is this person suffering? I hope that they're suffering. If they made me suffer. God, these bangs. I cut my bangs and they look good yesterday, and now they're like they shrunk. You see what happened? I don't care. It looks good when it's done. Anyway, let's see what the underlining energy is. The underlining energy tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Don't forget to check out the that box, the description box. Check out my shadow healing coaching. And if you signed up and you haven't gotten a link, let me know because I've been doing it on Zoom. And the reason why is because I want to combine my two channels right now, and we don't have enough people for me to really pay a platform. So we're doing it on Zoom right now. So if you signed up and you haven't gotten the link, please reach out to me. All right. And don't forget to check out the Otter Spirit link if you want crystal bracelets today. I just decided to wear this jasper. I don't even know what kind of jasper it is, to be honest with you. I didn't pick it. It's like the company sent me. Well, I actually did because I picked the heart chakra. So it's a stone that's resonates with the heart chakra. I just felt like wearing it today, this one. It kind of matches my shirt a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, you get 15% off if you buy under, $90. You buy $90 worth, you get 30% off, and not all, but 15% of your proceeds also go towards saving the otters. That's a big deal. It's what's good for everyone involved, and that's how spiritual energy works. Spiritual energy works that way. Like it's what's best for everyone. All right. So the underlining energy is abandonment. I'm gonna pull another one. Hmm. I mean to laugh. Past life. So obviously the underlining energy is that this person was supposed to be like your twin flame, their past life connection, but they chose not to be there for you. They didn't earn their place in your life, and you felt abandoned at one time. Now you're like, I don't care. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I heard Justin Timberlake's song, Cry Me a River, that one, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, like you don't care anymore. You're like, what comes around goes around. Like you weren't there for me, but you're gonna sit there and cry me a river that I'm not there for you. It's like you were supposed to be there for me. So I feel like this person abandoned you, and so now they feel that, you know, you're abandoning them, but they were prideful. They were prideful. They didn't want to hear it. They knew that they didn't treat you well. So they procrastinated and procrastinated and procrastinated and procrastinated because, again, I don't want to come back and apologize. I don't want to come back and apologize because that means I need to change my behavior. And I don't really know if I want this. And I really thought that this was a sure thing because there was a very strong connection. Is the energy there? Now they're like hopeless. And they're hopeless because it's like they know how they were. And it's like they just didn't think that you were going to play this game. And that's not a game. That's the whole thing. Wrong word. It's like they thought it was a game. They want to play a game. Because it's like, I don't really know what I want, but I still want you to stay here and sit here and wait for me and not get anything, which means that you would have to not know your worth. And I feel like you did. That's why this person feels the way that they do. They were dishonest. You had enough of their lies and their deception and dishonesty. And that, this person kept thinking that you'd never find out. And so it was like you found out one way or the other, and you were like, you're dishonest. You lie. You say that we have this connection and you say, but you don't want to do any of the things that you say that you're going to do. Like they say that they're going to take you to dinner. They say that they're going to, like, just basic things. Like dinner to me isn't really a big deal. It's to just spend time doing a basic thing that you have to do anyway. And you're like, and they make an excuse. They don't want to give you anything. Want to sit there and dangle the carrot and play with you. That's what you felt. And you were like, it was how disrespectful. And they knew that they were being disrespectful. So the moment that you said something, then that was a problem. Because hey, you shouldn't have said anything. It's like you got tired of being ignored. You didn't want to be in this attachment style relationship. What it's in there begging for emotion, begging for something. This person was monotone the whole time that they didn't act like they were a twin flame. They didn't act like they wanted to be a twin flame. They were not in their divine uh masculine or feminine energy. They refused to give you the apology, and that is what really did it. They didn't want to give you the apology. So what happened is you called their bluff. And it was so satisfying. And it was so satisfying because they had expectations. You had expectations at one time too, you know? And so you just had the memory. Now you're stuck with the memory of like, hey, they were a player. They were a player and they wanted to play. They wanted their freedom. You got your freedom. What's the problem? That's where you are. It's like you either demasculated this person or you cut this woman down to size. Either one. It's like because they weren't expecting to see that from you. It's again like there's just a fear of change with this person. It's again, and the change is just how I want to be seen. You know, if I give up, if I come to you, then what is that going to do? This hair is driving me crazy. Sorry. Um, and you just feel like there is a lot of this person like kept you out. They were prejudiced towards possibly your beliefs if you were someone that was spiritual and they weren't spiritual, or they, when someone treats you prejudice, it's just their way of, segregating you, of keeping you out. That really, and it's because of something, a perception that this person saw about you that they didn't like, that they didn't understand or they didn't like. And it has to be something that has to do with either a political view, a religion, something that again is so like you don't even care. You know what I mean? It's like this person could be someone that's just very religious and someone that, like I said, and I feel that on for some of you, it's again, it was your spiritual practice. And so you didn't even need to be a psychic, you didn't need to be a healer, you didn't need, if they didn't really understand that part. And so I feel like they didn't really know whether they could bring you around. And I understand it's that part of you that really intimidates them. And, now this person's mad because, hey, they're not going to be able to just have sex with you. This person had a lot of passion for you, but I believe again that there was an aspect of you, and I don't know what it is. It could be your job, it could be anything because it's a collective reading. I feel very heavy that for some it was a religion, it was a belief system, it could be just anything that was against them. And it was like, well, if I bring you around, my friends have the same beliefs, my family have the same beliefs as I do, so it's going to be difficult. So they don't really like that. However, there was still all this passion. But what we see here is it's again just dominant, and that this person just didn't want to change, So they thought that you were going to buy the illusion. We were like, nope, and that's what you see now. It's like, what are they doing now? Well, what they're doing now is still creating illusions, still in their bad habits, and getting sex from people that they don't really have to give anything to. And it's again because, hey, they're angry. And they don't want to show that they're angry about, the fact that you took your power back, that you called their bluff. You know that how this person feels because that connection, ESP through the heart and mind, was very strong. It was a spiritual connection, and the thing is they just never thought that they know that the connection has changed, and it was all because they didn't want to give an apology, like they sabotaged the connection. So you could say, well, are they going to do anything about it? Because what we see right now is that they're running around with people. So in the future, are they going to do anything? Not that you should go back with this person, but again, some of us nosy people always want to know that. Um, Even if it's just so that you can say, screw off. I would never be with you. Very satisfying too. No, this person will always have obstacles in their way, always create obstacles. They're grateful that they met you and that they act like they don't care when deep down they really do. It's like, I can't fix it. I can't fix it because I did everything to this situation. And this person doesn't really know how to get out of their own way. And really their healing, really required them to come into union with you. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't be replaced. The universe will always bring you someone else. This person was a fake twin. They were a karmic. And if you got involved with them, it would have been bad. We saw how they are and we see who they are now. They haven't changed. And so that says everything about them. The reason why you brought this person into your life, however, is all about you. And it's due to your traumas, due to the experiences that you grew up with, the experiences, or if you didn't grow up with that, with a parent, it could have been a friend, it could have been a teacher, it could have been your first relationship. It could be something that's so insignificant, but the child self, it only knows how to feel. So the energetic template is, oh, I just remember that feeling and I'm afraid of it. Sometimes we don't even know why we're afraid of that energy. It's all about being able to see ourselves differently. And if we don't know, what needs to be healed, we don't know what to do in order to see ourselves differently, is what Spirit is saying. So the first card out that fell out is discipline. I was like, is some of these cards not like, I'm like, some of these cards are, is that supposed to be? Yeah, I guess it is. Disassociation. That's a little bit of a harsh energy because when we disassociate, we're detaching on an emotional level because it's traumatizing, because the child self, again, isn't logical, it's not analytical, it remembers what it feels. It's like that's why we don't remember. However, the body stores that energy, even though the mind doesn't remember. So there was this sense of detachment and disassociation, even from the body. So if you don't know what you feel due to the trauma, well, that's a problem. And the trauma was suppression. And it was, well, this is actually healing energy. So that's a gift. And then organized chaos. And then safety and security, resilience. That's another gift. That's another gift. And then one more for fine measures. Let's pull right from the deck. Mm, wonder. That's neither here nor there. It's what wonder is well, it's the wonder in you, finding the wonder in you. Understand whenever we have trauma, whether it's psychological, emotional, or physical, the brain doesn't know the difference. It just knows trauma and it doesn't like that energy. So its main thing is about survival. And if we're in a place of survival all the time, then we're gonna have a problem learning in school because our mind is too busy, again, worrying about the environment and whether or not the environment is safe. It's because there was no safety, there was no security. And why I say that is because organized chaos doesn't mean that you didn't go to school. It doesn't mean that you didn't like eat and have a bed. So from the outside, everyone would think that your life is okay. But when there's alcoholism in the house, or when there's like mental or spiritual issues, and I call it spiritual disease, when a person hasn't healed so much that, and they've been around a lot of people that have been abusive to them, then everything's a trigger. So, it's like living in a home where you have to watch where you walk because everything's a landmine, and so you become hyper vigilant. you become conditioned to that environment. And unfortunately, the brain doesn't know how to like change when you go out into the outside world because you're stuck in that reality. So that's kind of what happened. That trauma created the magnetic force to bring this person that obviously is that, toxic energy. You know, I don't want to apologize. I want to seem more superior than you and is in all this addictive energy of having sex and everything instead of apologizing. That's somebody that is again would create trauma that would try to suppress you. You already were suppressed. And suppressed, if you grew up in that environment, you're just suppressed. You don't need to have, a parent that's actually abusing you. But, if you're grow up in an alcoholic environment, you're taught to be codependent. You're taught that like life isn't safe. And it doesn't need to be alcoholism. It could be drug addiction. It could be anything where even if your parent just had major anxiety where they couldn't even function or everything, like I said, was a trigger. That type of trauma created detachment and disassociation, as I said. So safety and security mainly comes from giving it to yourself. I mean, when we get out of that environment, we have to learn how to give it to ourselves by becoming strong within ourselves. We have to give ourselves the safety and security. And so, Spirit says you are resilient. You were strong for what you had to like endure in your childhood. And so you also had to get lessons. Again, those lessons to play out as having toxic people come into your life, and you had to, see yourself differently. You had to see yourself as resilient and strong and smart. Now it's time to discipline yourself when it comes to yourself. And that's by creating yourself. And we can only do that when we go out into the world and we see the wonders of the world. Then we're able to, see the wonders within ourselves because we're seeing ourselves through different eyes. Sometimes, unfortunately, we can't heal in the same place that we got sick. So if a person's not showing you your best interest, you definitely don't want to go back to trying to be. See that freaking hair keeps doing that? I'm gonna get a beret, but you can't do that. You can't, like I said, you can't get healthy in the same place that you got sick. And, a lot of times, spirit will show you who you are before like a big change. Like, and that's to allow you to like act differently, to change differently. Obviously, you've been with this person in a past life. That's the whole thing. The past life connection. Every lifetime we have an opportunity to step it up, to heal, but to become the best version of ourselves. It has to start somewhere, sometime. The whole point is that we evolve to that highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love, which is the energy of God. That's when heaven will be on earth. But all this, detachment and disassociation and, creates so much pain. And then we tend to focus on the divide. So remember, what's happening within is what's a reflection of what's happening out. So your relationship is actually a sign of what's going on collectively. And if you talk to people, you'll say there's a lot more people that are in unhappy relationships. And it's because they haven't healed. They just try to replace, where spirit says, no, no, no. It's time for you to go into the unknown. Open your heart to the new where true growth occurs. You call to explore. Now let's also understand this is a transmutation process. We saw what the inner child wounds were when we pulled to the inner child wounds. Now this is, like I said, we can't fully heal until we embody a new consciousness. And that's the transmutation process. So you have to do something different. Spirit says, live authentically and boldly, unafraid to be yourself. Live out loud because, again, you're going to be a mirror of who and what comes into your life. So if you pretend to be a phony, baloney, well, you wouldn't pretend to be a phony, but you're a phony baloney pretending to be someone that you're not. Well, then spirit's going to bring you a phony baloney also. And no one wants to be with someone that's phony. You know, no one wants that because you'll be in the relationship by yourself. That's why. Time to go on your soul's path. Time to listen to your own soul. Listen to your soul that guides you. Align your actions with your values and go with the flow. Navigate difficulties, calm and in acceptance. And you can do that when you're at peace. You wouldn't be able to do like manifest anything with this person into your life. They want to keep you at a low vibration because they're at a low vibration. Someone that doesn't want to apologize is not someone that you would be able to even do anything with. You know, it's like trust already. Right out of the gate, they're creating intimacy problems. And so, love, there is no such thing as love without trust. What that is passion. That's dominance, which is what this person associates love with. But that's not love. They dispose of you when they're done. And that's what you know. So Spirit says this wasn't about controlling the environment. This was about controlling you. Meaning you have no control over what other people do, even if they're toxic and they're a bully and they're wrong. Because understand you grew up in an environment where that parent was, traumatizing. So you might have been stuck in fear. And so Spirit's saying it's like you had to go back into a very like chaotic environment. And this person brought chaos into it. I don't know what I want. I'm not going to apologize. I've created all this drama thinking that you're going to fight for the relationship. It's like the spirit says, no, it was about you releasing the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. You had to integrate those spiritual lessons, but you wouldn't have known, you wouldn't have remembered that you're like, oh, wow, I'm undervaluing myself. It's like you gave energy to this person in spirit saying, instead of creating yourself more. By going out into the world, you're going to create yourself. Because that's how you get ideas, you get inspired, you meet different people, and again, you're focused, you're living your path. This person isn't doing that. They're living from their addictions. And that's where they wanted to be. Now they're going to sit down, maybe cry, but they know that they can't, but they're upset. So they're going to pretend that they don't care, even though deep down we know that they do. You're the one that got away. Spirit says it's just time for you to take bold action when it takes to create in your life. Just act decisively. Don't give your energy to something that's not giving energy back. Like it's like you can extend an offer once, but you can't be that person that does the entire relationship. And that's what this person would have wanted. They wanted someone to like chase them. They want attachment. And they're going to train you through emotionally being abusive. That's what you grew up with. You don't need that. No one's got time for that. All right, I'm gonna go, Virgo. I love you guys. Don't forget to be interactive in the channel. It gives me love. Like the video. And if you want shadow healing coaching, don't forget to click on the link. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. Gonna find the off button. There it is. Bye.